So the transfer window has slammed shut, and this is a window that I don't think any Sunderland fan is going to forget in a long time. On transfer deadline day, basically itself, Sunderland completed another 3 incoming transfers to put on the final finishing, the final touches into the squad to go after the Premier League this year. And on the channel so far, we've had a lot of fun covering Sunderland. Great start to the season so far, and now heading into the international break, really with their tails up, really a lot of wind under their sails. And yeah, it feels like Sunderland are only really just getting started. In the video today, we'll have a look at the new incomings and outgoings that we've had from Sunderland since the last time we covered them here on the channel. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and get into the comment section and let me know what you think in its totality the business that Sunderland have ended up doing in the window. Thoughts and feelings on start to the season, where you can go this year, all that good stuff, guys. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because this is how the Sunderland squad looked the last time that we came to look at them from the transfer point of view. Good numbers in depth really across the board, but the number one thing I was worried about for Sunderland was going to be the amount of goals they would actually get to score. How many goals do they actually have in their front line? But the midfield really has hit the ground running and has done everything that it was designed to do on paper. They say football isn't played on paper, but it feels like for Sunderland it might just be a little bit. Granit Xhaka and Siddiqui has been some engine room, and Habib Diarra, it's just been a joy to watch. Never mind the defensive, recruitment that Sunderland have done. Guys that for me are hard-nosed defenders, and I think Sunderland have really profiled their defence very well with great physical attributes, great defensive nous, and as we've seen already, I know Ronaldo gave away the penalty, right, but Ronaldo, Alderti, Mukiele, these guys have all really hit the ground running and added to that midfield quality. And, the front line's done its job for the most part so far, but I think more Sunderland fans maybe get what I'm driving at here, that goals might be the hardest thing to come by for Sunderland this year, but between Robin Roths and the defence and everything else, I think Sunderland is going to be one of the hardest nuts to crack this year. Now that we've had the transfer window pan out, we had a few outgoings and incomings towards the end. Paddy Roberts left, Brown left, Triantis left, Sealt and Huggins all left as well. But Mark Guéhi was recalled by Chelsea because of their whole Nicholas Jackson Liam Delap thing and whatever. And that kicked Sunderland into gear to sign Ajax striker Brian Brobbey. Now, Brian Brobbey is a name that a lot of you guys are probably familiar with. He's been around the block for a little while. Went to Leipzig for mega money might have been from Ajax, in fact, with it not really ever working out, and he's ended up basically back there. Now, Brian Brobbey is a player that I watched a lot of when he was in Germany. I've not seen too much of him besides there, but I do keep in touch with a lot of European football, and I know he's not been that great at Ajax. I don't think the fans are particularly that convinced by him. And yeah, he's been in and around the Dutch squad. He's a very, very well thought of striker, an arrowhead, a finisher, a guy with a good work ethic, a good football IQ for the most part. I've just not really seen it. And when I seen that you guys were after this, I don't think... Does he replace Mark Guéhi? Yeah, fine, I think he does. But does he really fix the problem that's in the front line of he's going to get you that 15 to 20 goals you need from one striker in the Premier League to really make a real claim to fame this season? I don't see it. I don't think so. I've been quite impressed with Mayenda. It's first time kind of seeing him. I think he looks okay, doesn't he? At 20 years of age, still got a lot of progression to go. And Isadore, I think, has been the best striker I've seen. He's taken his goals absolutely fantastic, and beginning to wonder what this guy needs to do to get a start. The only other addition into the front line is Bertrand Traore, who has kind of been there, seen it, done it in the Premier League. You know what you're getting from him in that regard. But again, a guy that's never really fulfilled his potential, never really hit the heights. A right winger that can complement Talby quite well to share 90 minutes to rotate across fixtures with. He's big, he's powerful, he's very direct, he's got absolute gunpowder in his boots as well. So, in the right circumstances, a guy that could be effective for 5 or 10 matches across the season. But similar to Brobbey, I don't know if they really move the needle. I don't know if they actually really add extra goal threat, extra goals into Sunderland's makeup. But for the price, considering Bertrand Traore was €2.5 million or something like that, I think Brian Brobbey was rather economical for the most part. €20 million for a striker of this kind of calibre is pretty much the going rate, isn't it? And when you look at this squad now, having cost basically €190 million or something like that, it really looks like a Premier League outfit. The last addition that we had come in the transfer deadline day is Geertruida. Now, Geertruida is another player I'm rather familiar with from when he was at Feyenoord, seen him up close and personal playing against Celtic, and being at Leipzig, I've seen him play here. And this is a guy that is almost identical to Mukiele in terms of his versatility. A guy that started as a centre-back, but at Feyenoord very quickly became a right-back, and he does get up the pitch. and you know, he doesn't mind kind of progressing play and sustaining attacks, that kind of thing. But he's like Ronaldo, he's not really a fullback's fullback. He's more of that kind of wide centre back. So I could see him playing at right back, same way that we've seen Ronaldo play left back, and just be, you know, like he'll help the team get up the pitch and stuff. But he's not that overlapper. He's not that guy who's going to penetrate the opposition box, that kind of thing. I could equally see him as, I think his main job is going to be cover at centre back. I think although Hume has played so much this season, got that new contract, didn't move to Wolfsburg or whatever, I think Mukiele will become right back when Ballard comes back in. But the defence is rock. We've not even seen Masuako, who is like a bombastic left back, who is a guy that wants to attack and go on, a bit similar to Hume. You know, there's a lot of strength and versatility and quality in numbers in the defence here for Sunderland, and I think this will be the basis of their success this year. And you know, it's good that they further reinforced that, because you would hate an injury or two, a suspension or so, to maybe undermine what is clearly the strongest part of their team, in the absence of, you know, if they aren't hitting their straps or not really scoring goals week in, week out, away from home as easily as at home, that kind of thing. So I think that's a smart move to bring in Geertruida. Whether he plays at right back, I was surprised to see Mukiele play centre back for Sunderland, but again, Ballard is out, so that's maybe a temporary thing. But you really get some good versatility out of Geertruida as well. And you know, like the way he kind of played against Celtic, certainly he was kind of tucking inside a little bit alongside Quinton Timber, who was their defensive midfielder. So I wouldn't rule out maybe in some sort of ripcord, put the life jackets on situation. Maybe it could be some sort of cover for Noah Siddiqui. I wouldn't rule it out. He's never done that explicitly before, but strong, powerful, really good on the ball, a great 1v1 defender, which, like I keep saying, this whole defence really is. Hard-nosed defenders, really good when its back's against the wall, but good football players as well, which is what you need to get out of trouble, to get back out the pitch, and really good moves overall for Sunderland. Now, as we leave the window, this is a starting 11, a complete starting 11 of players that Sunderland have only signed in this window, and this is a pretty fun-looking team on paper, it must be said. Like I say, Geertruida and Mukiele, I think Geertruida's maybe a bit more effective in the Premier League as a defensive right back rather than a centre back. Mukiele's just a bit more commanding, isn't he? But he does have those legs. You do want to fire him up the pitch if you possibly can. Big, powerful, like a runaway Lokomotiv Moscow, almost like Cafu, but not quite Cafu, obviously. But I think you really want to let him off the leash if you can. But it's splitting hairs, isn't it? But a really interesting team. I don't think this is actually the strongest 11 for Sunderland. And again, I'm open to discussion on the likes of Adringa and Talbot, and maybe even the centre-backs as well. But I think this is kind of how the best 11, when it comes to the strikers, I'm an Isidore guy, I think, is where I stand at the moment. But again, this is a really strong starting 11, and when we compare and contrast that against other Premier League squads, the midfield is top half of the Premier League level. The defence, I think now, especially when you look at the depth and think about all the different options they've got to maybe play 3 at the back, 5 at the back, all this kind of thing, as well as just rest and rotate and deal with different opposition. The defence is very firmly a top half team for me now, and it is just that striker position, if they can get that fire and they can get that going. But I think it's only looking up for Sunderland. You know, I think on the channel here, Sunderland fans maybe thought I was playing to the choir a little bit, or playing to the gallery, by saying, oh, I think Sunderland are going to have a really good year. But I think there's proof in the pudding already. They've further compounded that successful start with some proactive, some exciting business. And whether you look at the best 11 or the 11 new players that have came in, and the different options and variations with front threes and midfield 4s and 5s and whatever, as long as they can score enough goals, and you know, how many is enough? They don't need to be beating people by 3 and 4 every week. Sunderland have got everything now at the tip of their fingers. It should be a really exciting season for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. Do you think this was enough for Sunderland? I do think that if, you know, we could go back 24 hours, they probably should have bought someone with a bit more pedigree, maybe even someone that's proven before Traore Brobbey. I just think this is a guy that's got history of not translating into other leagues very well, hasn't really made that breakthrough move yet. But hey, you know, the scouting department at Sunderland have got so much right so far, so if they fancy it, I don't see it, you know, it's not impossible it works out. It's not impossible that it doesn't work out, or however I meant to say that. On screen now, some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Throughout the international break, I'll be covering all the teams and all the moves that we normally cover here on the window, so stay tuned for that, as well as I'll be updating my Premier League predictions now that we're out of the transfer window, to see if there's any movers and shakers throughout those predictions. There's definitely going to be a few of them. Hit the subscribe button for content like that and everything else that's here on the channel. Have a great day, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.